Hello everybody, we're back. And this week with a creature design. So, I sculpted this frogman character that is inspired by a bunch of things I found online. I made this mood board on Milanote and I got started. And of course, we're going to start with character design, which I feel like I forgot how to do somehow. I was not thorough with this part, which was a very big mistake. I had to go back to the drawing board a couple more times, as you'll see later in the video, because of this. I did not do things in the correct process that I usually do. I didn't make a silhouette. I didn't even really make a good enough turnaround example. And for this, I used Laguna Wed clay, which, you guys, is my medium, I think. I mean, this is only maybe the second time I've worked with this clay, and it is such a wonderful texture. I really recommend it. It was easy for me to use, and it felt very intuitive to use. So I got started. First objective, of course, block in the main shapes, which again, I didn't establish well enough in the character design, which is why it's looking like this. And it doesn't get any better anytime soon. But I went ahead anyway, tried to find where the eye sockets were, where the mouth line was, even tried out, some eyeballs I had. They were too small for this sculpture, which was another issue. This was way too big. I couldn't even get even a little bit of the neck and the chest in this part. And even though I knew I had to go back to the drawing board, I still wanted to establish a little bit of eyelid where the lips were, just to get an idea of if this is the expression I was really going for. Spoiler, it was not the expression I was going for. I changed that a lot later on in probably my third drawing board revisit. I'm still giving it a good go, blocking in forms where I could. I even referenced a human because I wanted this character to have a little bit of human characteristics. And yeah, so back to the drawing board. What I did was I took a picture of the profiles and the face on, put them in Procreate, and drew on top of it. I went back to my original sketch and I started to refine the shapes a little bit more. As you can see, I started to put in a little bit more expression. I wanted him to be snarling a little bit asymmetrical, which I don't know if I did a good job with in the end, but it was a good shot. I wanted this frog man to be expressive. He's from the south. He's a really tough swamp man. So once I got that, I went back to sculpting. I took my string and I pretty much just ripped it apart. And here it is, giving me a hard time. I used way too much clay to begin with, so I just went back and established forms as best as I could again. This time focusing on the brow bone and trying to block in that expression of a snarl straight in the beginning. I also made the eyes a little bit too small, and the head was way too low. I couldn't establish a neck. I wanted to at least establish a neck, so I moved the whole head. And again, this is gonna get really bad before it gets decent, and here's an example. Yeah, it's giving alien, which isn't too bad. There's some promise here, especially in the profile. The eyes are starting to give a little bit more expression, but it is time to go back to the drawing board again. I did the same thing and I took a picture, liquefied it, drew on top of it, and changed it a little bit to fit more of what I was thinking. And then I continued on. And here it's starting to look a little bit better. I just kept doing the same thing, pulling back, looking at it, seeing where things needed to be added, where things needed to be raked down. And it started to come into shape. I also looked in my viewfinder in my camera because it flips the image around a little bit. And when you flip an image around in a mirror or a camera, you are able to see a lot of imperfections that you can't see before. Kind of like when you take a picture with your phone and not on Instagram and you're like, why the hell do I look like that? Like that. You notice your face mirrored and it looks odd to you. So I finally settled on a base, and I don't think it turned out too bad. I did go back again to the drawing board and try to establish some rough texture and I got started. I did smooth out the clay quite a lot with a sponge and a wet brush, and also my rakes. Rakes are very important and loop tools. So I got to get the high points down. You see here, I'll go back in with a sponge, smooth everything down, getting it ready for some texture to go on top. And I tried to do some scale texture here. So what I did was I took a loop tool because it removes clay instead of moves it around like a needle would. And I started to do cross hatches to give kind of a reptilian texture on top. I didn't do a good job. I will do better, maybe, hopefully, in the future. But when I did those cross hatches, I added little bits of clay to kind of act as warts or scales on top. Just this. And then I took a dry brush, a coarse dry brush, and I kind of blended that in on top. Here you'll see me do it on the other side. Kind of just laying it down in some shapes that I thought were reptilian. Is a frog a reptile? I don't know. I'll have to Google that. Frog-like. I was trying to give a frog-like texture. So I did that everywhere, all over the frog. Adding bigger ones here and there. And I think where I went wrong was, what I should have done was give a suggestion of texture. I went a little overboard with the warts and the scales, and I do think that it changed the silhouette a little bit and the balance of the whole sculpture. So you'll see here with the finished product, I do think I did a little bit too many warts. I got a little carried away. I do wish I kept the brow bone smooth, you know? But this is it. This is the finished result. I quite honestly hate it. I hope someone enjoys it out there. But you know what it is? It is a sculpture sketch. This is just another part of the character design process. This is only the head. This is going to give me information about how I would like to build a maquette and how I'd really want this character to look on screen. The profile is not too bad. That's actually my favorite part of it, but sculpture should really look good in different angles. Either way, I still enjoyed this. It was a wonderful creature design session. I hope you enjoyed the process and know that art is hard and it takes endless iterations and endless practice to get to somewhere you're happy with. This is just one drop in the bucket, and I hope to post more soon. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video of my process, I think you'll like these ones too, if you want to go check that out. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.